What if I told you that every major goal you've ever set, every new year, new me resolution, every promise to completely transform your life might actually be working against you? Not because you're lazy, not because you lack discipline, but because of how your brain is wired. Today, we're diving into neuroscience, behavioral psychology, and the hidden reason tiny habits almost always outperform massive goals. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to use this knowledge to your advantage. Stay with me, because this might completely change how you think about change itself. The January problem. Let's start with something familiar. It's January 1st. You're motivated, excited, ready for a fresh start. You write down your goals: lose 30 pounds, write a book, learn a new language, save $10,000. And honestly, just writing them down feels amazing. But then February arrives, and suddenly everything starts falling apart. Why? Psychologists call this goal gradient interference. When the finish line feels too far away, your brain doesn't increase motivation, it reduces it. The science of failed goals. A study published in 2009 in the Journal of Marketing Research discovered something surprising. When goals feel distant, people often slow down instead of speeding up. Then there's something called false hope syndrome, a concept introduced by psychologists Janet Polivy and C. Peter Hamann. Here's what happens. When we create massive, ambitious goals, our brain rewards us during the planning stage. We feel optimistic, powerful, inspired. But once real effort becomes necessary, reality crashes into expectations and motivation collapses. Here's where it gets even stranger. When you imagine achieving your goal, your brain releases dopamine, and sometimes that dopamine hit is enough to trick your brain into feeling accomplished before you've actually done anything. Research from New York University suggests that talking about huge goals or constantly fantasizing about them can actually reduce the chances of following through. Why? Because your brain already feels rewarded. So while big goals look impressive on paper, they often fail in real life. So what actually works? The answer is simple: tiny habits. And the reason is biological. Small habits operate through something called the habit loop, a system originally studied by MIT researchers and later popularized by Charles Duhigg. The loop has three parts: a cue, a routine, and a reward. Here's why this matters. When a task is tiny, like doing 2 push-ups or writing 1 sentence, your brain doesn't resist it. There's almost no friction. You complete the action, get a small dopamine reward, and over time, the neural pathway becomes stronger. This is called neuroplasticity. Your brain literally rewires itself based on repeated behavior. There is a famous principle from psychologist called Donald Hebb. The principle is neurons that fire together wire together, meaning every repeated action strengthens the identity attached to it. And here's the fascinating part. Stanford researcher called B.J. Fogg discovered something called celebration. Feeling good after tiny actions accelerates habit formation, which means you don't need massive success to build momentum. You just need consistent action. The power of 1%. Small actions compound over time. James Clear explains it perfectly. Improve by just 1% every day, and after a year, you'll be dramatically better. But regress by 1% daily, and progress almost disappears. This isn't just motivational advice, it's biology. Your habits slowly create a different version of you, cell by cell, synapse by synapse. Let's take a look at goals versus identity. Here's the real difference. Goals focus on outcomes. For instance, I want to lose weight. I want to run a marathon. I want to write a book. But habits shape identity. Every time you run, you reinforce I am a runner. Every time you write, you reinforce, I am a writer. This connects to something called self-perception theory, developed by psychologist Darrell Bem. We become what we repeatedly do, but not all habits are equal. Some habits create ripple effects across your entire life. These are called keystone habits. Charles Duhigg identified exercise as one of the most powerful examples. When people begin exercising regularly, even for just a few minutes, they often start eating healthier, sleeping better, becoming more productive, and thinking more clearly. One small win creates another and another. Confidence spreads. Implementation intentions. Now let's talk about something incredibly powerful. Implementation intentions. Psychologist Peter Goldwiter discovered that habits become far more successful when they are attached to a specific plan. The formula is simple. I will do this at this time in this location. Instead of saying, I'll try to exercise more, say, I will do 10 push-ups at 7 a.m. in my bedroom before I shower. Suddenly, your brain no longer needs to decide. The decision has already been made. The 2-minute rule. Here's another powerful idea. The 2-minute rule, popularized by James Clear. If a habit takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. No overthinking, no negotiating. Just begin, because starting is usually the hardest part. Tiny habits make starting feel effortless. The truth about consistency. In 2010, researcher Philippa Lally discovered something important. Habits don't form in 21 days. On average, they take around 66 days to become automatic. But here's the encouraging part. Missing a day doesn't ruin the process. Consistency matters more than perfection. Showing up imperfectly is still progress. Big goals look exciting, and sometimes they can give us direction. But as systems for real change, they often fail. Small habits succeed because they work with your brain. They reduce friction, reinforce identity, and compound over time. So don't focus on becoming a completely different person overnight. Focus on tiny actions, repeated consistently. Start embarrassingly small. Make it specific. Attach it to routines you already have, and keep showing up, not perfectly, but consistently. The person you want to become isn't waiting at the finish line out of some giant goal. They're being built day by day, habit by habit, choice by choice. If this video changed how you think about habits, let me know in the comments. What's one tiny habit you'll start this week? I will read every single comment. And if you enjoyed this science-based breakdown, hit subscribe, turn on post notification, like and comment, and I'll see you in the next video.